I'm Varun Mukund. I'm a freshman at Duke. This year, I am originally from Dallas, Texas. I went to Green Hill School in Addison, Texas. Small private school, around 125 students per grade. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for joining us. So, like, when did Duke become a possibility in your head? When did you start thinking about Duke?
Yeah, so my brother actually is currently a senior here, so he got into Duke in 2022. I've ever since then it's been pretty high on my list. I toured here a couple times, fell in love with the campus. Obviously, love the food, love the vibe. I'm very big on basketball, so the basketball culture here is really good. So all of those things kind of came together and made Duke really appealing to me. It wasn't just the fact that my brother was here, but it was the fact that him being here gave me a window to really see the inner workings of Duke as opposed to just like the outer image that they might present. And I really liked the vibe and the atmosphere on campus whenever I came and visited him. So that's when I started thinking about it.
Makes sense, man. All right. So, like, did you apply early to Duke, or was it an RD?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you didn't have to suffer through all the RD applications.
Yeah,
For you, right?
luckily I did
Yeah.
not have to.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So like, let's get honest about your stats. Like, so what was your GPA? Did you give any test scores? Did you give any tests, and what were your test scores? And yeah, that got you into Duke.
Sure, yes. My GPA, we had unweighted GPA on a 4.33 scale. So A plus is 4.33, A is a 4.0, so on and so forth. I think at the end of senior year, I was at a 4.13. Going into senior year, I think I was at a 4.15,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. That's in terms of testing, I submitted an SAT. I got 1580.
Amazing. Like, what was the typical? I guess like, do a lot of people go to good schools from your high school?
I think to some extent, yes. Yeah, I think especially my year, we had a lot of T20 acceptances. My school, like, we have very strong relationship with UT Austin.
Mm.
We have a lot of students going to like almost like yeah, any top 20 school, Northwestern, Duke. We had one MIT, we had a Harvard, we had a Princeton, a couple Yale, one or two Stanfords. Yeah, very diverse. But yeah, we usually have a very good class, and we also in terms of sports, we had I think 19 to 20 sports commits as well. So,
Mm. Makes sense. And for your class rank, like, first of all, like, does your school rank, and like, what was your rank?
yeah, so it doesn't have rankings, but they do tell us because the Texas system like has like a top 6% of every school. I think it's top five these years, but for my years, top six percent get auto admit to UT Austin. So they do tell us if we're top 6%. I was top 6% of my class, but they do not tell us the ranking aside from that.
And like, walk us through your testing journey, because you have like an insane score. That's like, I mean, someone would say like even Harvard level or something. I guess like, how many times did you take the SAT, and what was your starting score versus what was your final score?
Yeah, I actually only took the SAT once. That was my first score. I took it in August before my junior year. So that would be August of 2023. I took my SAT. That was my first test. Took it and then I was done after that.
That must be so relieving, man. You got
It
that so
was
early and got an
for
amazing
sure.
score as well.
For sure.
I had to give it like twice, but yeah, you have
Yeah,
like, this ECs add up and the essays add up and everything. It's insane. Good for you, man. Like,
thank
how,
you.
how did you prep for it? Like, that's an insane score for the first time.
I went to a prep. I went to a tutoring business called C2 Education. It was right next to my house. It was like an in-person thing. I would go like I went for maybe I think on and off for maybe a year. And then took in August. But that they kind of gave me the prep books and stuff. It's pretty expensive, which is a downside to it. but it ended up paying off. So
And what about APs? How many did you take?
my school it didn't really offer that many APs, so the selection was limited. I took 4 AP classes in junior year, 5 tests, and then I took 3 AP classes in senior year. But like that was they cap us at 4. You're only allowed to take your first AP in sophomore year, and you're only allowed to take 1 in sophomore year. You're allowed to take a max of 4 in junior year, and you're allowed to take a max of 4 in senior year. So I ended up taking, but since I took 5 tests in junior year, I could only take 3 senior year.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And like, what were your scores in that? Did you get like all fives, or did you have some fours or threes? Like,
I had it was like mostly 5s. I think I had 1 or 2 4s. I know I got a 4 in chem senior year, and then I got a 4 in, gosh, it's been a while. I think I got 1 more 4, and then I ended up Latin. I didn't even submit Latin. I did not even try on that test. So that was my lowest score. But I ended up getting I think all 5s except for those 2 4s, and then my Latin score.
makes
Yeah,
sense. All right.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about your ECs. So I guess like, when did you really start focusing seriously building on your EC profile?
The thing is, whenever I was in my ECs, I never really did any of my ECs for the sake of college. I mean, like, okay, I guess to some extent maybe, but like, I think almost every single one of the extracurriculars I did was things that I had built up from freshman or eighth grade, like things that I was like actually interested in that I built up and just had longevity in. And I think that's something that's really important, especially in the college application process. I started my policy research institute in 10th grade because I wanted to do it with my debate friends, and that was my biggest extracurricular I did. I grew that globally. I also actually my most time consuming extracurricular, the one that I put the most time in, was debate. I started that in 3rd grade, and I built that through senior year. So like, and then every other one of I didn't start a single new extracurricular in junior or senior year. Everything started either mostly in freshman year, if not before, and then maybe like 1 or 2 in sophomore year.
But yeah, go ahead.
And I was just saying, like, the reasons why I started them, like, obviously I wasn't really thinking about college at the time. Obviously I was like in the back of my head, but I think all of them started from a place of like genuine interest and me wanting to do it. And then eventually I started tailoring them to my college application as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think that's like the best strategy as well. Like in that further, you get to be much more authentic writing about it
Yeah.
or describing it for sure. Which activity do you think had the most impact on your application?
I mean, I'm not sure. If you're asking like in terms of like, which one do you think like helped me get in the most, I'm not too sure because I haven't seen my application file. I would say the one that actually had the most meaning in terms of like real world impact was my policy research because those like actually had real world implications. We were able to advise on and recommend and critique a lot of policy, and then those actually end up getting passed or critiqued or changed. And so that was like the most real world impact that I was able to get. But I'm not sure which ones were the ones that factored into the Duke my acceptance.
And I guess like uh, a lot of people do not have are not in like a similar situation to you, so they don't know what to do for colleges. In terms of activities, they're like very scattered. So I guess like, what advice would you have for them?
I would say, I think the biggest thing I would say is like, if you do what you love, if you do your passion, then your greatness will shine through. A lot of people start random clubs, they start random initiatives just for the sake of putting that on their application. And I feel like, yes, like I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying you're not going to be able to do it to the fullest extent possible. You're not going to be able to succeed in it. You're not going to be able to just like excel and rise above the others in it if you don't truly love it or you don't truly have a passion for it. So doing the things that you're genuinely interested in, and that then gives you the mind space and the capability to really be great at it. And also, I would just say like doing 100 things at a shallow level is
Yeah,
not as good as
yeah,
doing a couple things at a very deep level.
makes sense. Moving on, let's talk about quantifying impact. So I guess like, how did you like phrase or framed your activities so that they showed impact? Because I think that's what a lot of colleges look for. impact in some sense?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been tutoring and guiding some students through the college application process. And the way that I frame it is that every single one of your extracurriculars needs to show two things. First, initiative, and second, impact. A lot of people have it covered in the
Yeah.
initiative front. Like a lot of people were able to say, "Oh, I saw this problem and I started this club." But the thing that people often fail to do is focus on the impact side, focus on your results, show why the college should care about the things that you do, because it's all good and good, like it's all
Yeah.
like nice to see that, like, oh, I started the chess club, or oh, I started the STEM club at my school. But if the initiative didn't translate into real world, like maybe guidance or mentorship of younger students, or it didn't achieve some sort of result, some competition results, or maybe you didn't expand it, or like whatever it is, if you're not able to portray that through your application, then there's no reason why a college would just accept you because of the initiative, because they want to see that what you did transformed into something real. At least from my perspective.
No, no, for sure.
Um,
Totally.
yeah, and so I would say like there's not like a set way to show it. I would say focus on results. I would say, I mean, like this is just like the typical. This is going to just be kind of cliche, but like you can even like every college guidance counselor is going to tell you like use like action words
Yeah.
in your activities list to show that like, you actually did something. Is not like a passive role. And then I guess weave it in as a narrative, like show it as a story. Like you started there, you saw there's some action or event or something that drove you to then start the initiative, and then how that grew into something real, and then make it like a one cohesive story. And I think that's the best that you can do with your application.
Makes sense, for sure. All right, let's talk about your awards and honors. So I guess like what did you put there, and how competitive did you feel in that area? Because a lot of people just don't put enough effort in that part of the application.
Sure. I think like awards and honors is a lot broader than a lot of people like credit to be. Like a lot of people think it can only be through competition, but I'm not sure if that's the case. For me specifically, I put my Cameron Impact. I was a finalist at the time. I didn't know that I got it before I submitted my application. I told them about my finalist status. I put my debate, like premier distinction stuff. I put a couple of grants that I'd gotten. And I think about national merit finalist as well in there. But like these are things that like aren't like I entered a competition or I entered a award. Like, and I've seen awards can be ranging anything. Like
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that awards can be. Could even be like maybe you're oh yeah, like you maybe you're invited to speak at a scientific conference to represent to present your research papers, or maybe you were interning somewhere and you presented your research paper. Like those are technically things that you can put in your honors section, because you are like it's something that was given to you as opposed to other people. So like I was invited to speak at the UN and General Assembly in New York. So that was something I put on there. Technically, it wasn't like something that I applied. It wasn't something like that. I was like, I got like a first place award for this, but it's still something. It's like something that I think is fitting, and I think a lot of people try to kind of rule those out when they're thinking about this section.
Makes sense. All right. Let's talk about your essays. So I guess like how did you uh, create like a narrative that was impressive enough to the AOs?
I mean, I avoided talking about my resume too much
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like
Yeah, the activity section is for that. Yeah.
yeah, there's enough space on your application to talk about your awards and your extracurriculars.
Okay.
I talked about the more human side of me, the things that made me appealing as a person. I talked about my relationship with my family. I talked about my relationship with my friends. I talked about my role as I was like a student counselor at school, helping with suicidal ideation, like helping students deal with that. And so I talked about those things, which technically, like, you're not going to see them on my resume, but that's the entire point of an essay, is to see
Yeah.
who you are as a person, not see who you are as a resume.
For sure. Like how many drafts did you have to go through before you got to the final essay?
For my Common App, I want to say four. I did one. Well, I mean, I knew what the topic was going to be pretty early on, because like I over the summer, like I had discussed it with like my English teacher and stuff. Like I knew what I wanted to write about. So it was just four drafts, just of the same topic, just me like revising it over and over. But it was pretty quick. I'd say I finished my Common App by the second week of school. And I know a lot of people do a lot earlier than me, but I only started like I think in August. So a lot of people, I would say, do finish earlier than I did. I would say finish it well before school starts, so then you can get your supplemental essays out of the way. But I procrastinated a little bit. I was also busy that summer, so as I'm sure everyone is. But I was interning at UT Southwestern Medical Center, and so I didn't have much time to work on it. So I kind of procrastinated a little bit. So I think I spent like around 3 weeks on it, 3 or 4 weeks on it, and then I was able to I was able to get a good draft of it at the end.
How much did outside help impact your final essay? Like how many people did you have it read through, and what advice did you eventually take? Because I think if you take too much advice, it filters out your own voice. You know? Like what's
That is
the
true. That is true.
balance?
I agree. I mean, actually, I didn't send my essay to anyone except for my dad. Me and my dad were the only two people that looked at it. And then my final essay, my brother took to look at it too. But for every single one of my essays, both Common App and Supplemental, the only people that laid eyes on it were my dad and my brother. My mom as well, but that was just, she didn't really give me edits, so that was just to see what I was writing about. But my dad and my brother were the only ones that kind of gave me edits and laid eyes on it. And I feel like obviously there's value to getting a lot of perspective and feedback, but these are things that were very like it wasn't that they were very personal to me, as in they weren't like sensitive information, but these are things that like only the people that are closest to me and only the people that know me the best are the ones that are going to be able to give me the best advice, because they know like how I should sound. Like you want your voice to be represented at the end of the day, and I don't think yes, a college counselor will be able to tell you what sounds the best to an admissions officer, but my goal was to just portray my voice the best that I could in my essay, and I feel like the people closest to me, my family, were the people that were able to help me get that.
Makes sense. And for the supplemental essays, I guess like what did you write about in the like walk us through your supplemental essays?
Uh, I'm trying to remember. I mean, for the Y school essays, I ended up only writing applications for 5 schools. I had I think 15 on my list, but since I got in Duke ED, I didn't end up working on any of the others. But for like the Y school essays, I would just try to find things from tours, from friends that I knew at the school, things that weren't on the website. I think that's like the one piece of advice that all of like the people will give you. Like if you can find on the website, then you're probably like it's probably not unique enough. And it's not the fact that it has to be like completely unique. It's just the fact that like they want to see that you have some vested interest in the school that goes beyond like the how pretty it is or how the campus is. And yeah, so I just talked to friends and family that I knew at the school, try to find out things that I would generally be interested in. Like I wrote about at Duke, I wrote about these programs that worked with Durham jails, and I did a lot of work in criminal justice when I was in high school, and that was really genuinely interesting. And this is something I'm actually pursuing right now at Duke as well. So like things that if you feel like you're going to actually be interested in it at the school, then I would say write about it, because then you're able to actually that interest shines through more than anything.
All right. Any last piece of advice for people who are looking to apply to like similar colleges and want to get into like T20 schools as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like the biggest thing about the college application is that at the end of the day, it's a narrative, and you're doing the best you can to tie a cohesive narrative. And a lot of people are like, I did a bunch of extracurriculars, but they don't tie into one thing, and they're like, I want to go pre-law, but I didn't do any pre-law activities. It's not the point. It's the fact that even if you like, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer for almost all of high school, but I started also doing biomedical research in junior year. It's show that you're a well-rounded candidate that will be able to adapt to the school that you're a part of. B, show that you're a human, not just a resume. And then I say C, make sure that you are shaping a narrative, tying things through, maybe bringing up these like little, show that like you didn't do your extracurriculars because they're extracurriculars. You did them because you're interested in them, and that will shine through in your essay. If you're interested in some field, maybe there's something about your history, your experience that ties into why you're interested there. And then make that shine through in your essays, and that helps tie it more together and show the college that you're going to actually be pursuing the things that you're talking about while you're there, as opposed to just like putting it on there for the sake of the application.
Thank you so much for your time. I think it will be immensely helpful for everyone who's looking to apply.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, of course. Oh,